Snow, and welcome back to iHollywood TV, where our next guests are here to speak about the highly anticipated new film based on the life of Duck Dynasty stars Phil and Kay Robertson. The Blind opens in theaters nationwide September 28th. Please welcome this morning Duck Dynasty stars Willie and Korie Robertson to the show. Good morning, guys.
Hello, how are you?
Hey there, good morning.
It is so nice to have you both on the show, so let's go ahead and get started. So Duck Dynasty was one of the most popular reality shows on TV, but ended in 2017 as the both of you and the family were ready to lay low in Louisiana, ending the show in 2017 and retreating from the public eye. But why is that, and what made you both make the decision to step back from the spotlight at that specific time in your lives?
Well, we made a lot of episodes, so it was a lot of sausage making. So yeah, it was more like
it was like a 5-year sprint. I think.
It was like a really fast run, and then we said let's take a little break and see what comes up next. And one of the things we wanted to do was kind of jump into production and tell other people's stories and try to see who the next family or who the next people are that had great stories. And we happened to circle back to our own family again. Which was the life of Phil and Kay, and kind of how their marriage, it was so bad at the beginning, and they had this like decade where it should have ended, and it was just really horrific. And but somehow they managed to keep it together. Kay managed to stay, Phil found faith, and then they stayed together. And so what strikes us is, had that not happened, if they wouldn't have stayed together, my whole life would look completely different. I probably wouldn't have met Korie. We wouldn't have had a company. There wouldn't have been a TV show. And so, up until the moment, this wouldn't have happened. And so, man, we can look back. What a benchmark is saying this family stayed together, and we're so thankful that they did. And so we go back and tell that story. It's a timepiece set in the 50s, 60s, 70s. So it's kind of cool going back in time. And shot it here in Louisiana. And, strangely enough, there's some of those towns they were in look exactly like they do in the 50s and 60s. So not much has changed since then.
Now, Willie, were there some things about your parents that will surprise viewers when they watch the biopic in theaters? And how was it like for you personally to relive some of those moments when watching it with Korie?
It was difficult. I think it was difficult for all of us. Me, not as much, because most of my memories are from whenever they had, stayed together. And so in the movie, I'm 2 years old, and I'm actually portrayed by my grandson, John Shepard, who plays me as a 2-year-old, which is very surreal. Seeing my grandson play me in a movie about my parents. But yeah, I think people would, I don't think people understand, the struggle, and no story nothing I saw in the movie I hadn't heard Phil and Kay say. I mean, they've been real transparent with their life. But when you see it in pictures, it's like, whoa, and you realize, I had more empathy for Kay. I was like, wow, how did she keep this together? In fact, if I were giving her advice, I'd have probably said, Kay, you just need to move on, And even though that would have been bad, it was just, I just don't know how she stayed with it. And so I think people really see the gritty nature, like, man, it's kind of about Phil, making this big transformation, but it's really more about Kay and her willingness to forgive him and stick with him through all the damaging things that he was doing to not just himself, but their relationship, to us as kids. And I think people will learn a lot, and then probably have a little bit more appreciation of Duck Dynasty and of how everything kind of worked out, and the success we've had in business and in television.
Now, Korie, talk to us about why this film, The Blind, is so important right now for all audiences to go out and see this.
Yeah, I think that people are experiencing a lot of hopelessness. A lot of people feel like there's depression, anxiety, all these things that are going on, and this movie touches on all of that. Like, Phil and Kay were at that point in their life. There's a point where Kay, you mentioned like what were things that we didn't know, and that's what our kids, whenever our kids watched it, they were like, whoa, I didn't know that about my Kay. Did she really hit that low point where she didn't know if she was gonna keep going, things like suicidal thoughts. Like, this movie addresses all of those difficult things, but ultimately this movie is about hope, because things change, and God comes into someone's life and can change everything. And that's what happened to Phil and Kay, and that's what happened to their story. So you can look at like Duck Dynasty and see this family all around the dinner table and be like, oh, they're just one big happy family. But when you know the backstory and the things that God has brought them through, it can give you a greater appreciation, and also can give you hope in your own life to know that, like, okay, things are not hopeless. Things can turn around for the better.
Oh, I love that. And we all need hope, especially in our world today. But tell us, where can audiences go to find out movie information and purchase tickets as well?
Yeah, you can go to theblindmovie.com and type in your city and find the theater that you're at. Hopefully, we'll have a great showing opening weekend. We've been working on this for the past couple of years, and it's a true labor of love. So we're so excited to get it out to theaters.
Well, congratulations, guys. Thank you so much. Willie and Korie Robertson, we are out of time, but thank you for the great conversation. I appreciate it, and we will be going to see The Blind.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great talking to you.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Right.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.